Up.
I was born in South Africa, lived there till I was 17, and then moved by myself. Should I give you the whole story? Or?
Yeah, I'd
okay.
love to hear
Okay.
the very beginning.
Sure. So I was born in Pretoria, South Africa. Lived in Johannesburg and Durban as well. Was able to travel to a few countries growing up within Africa and around the world, and went to the US when I was, I don't know, 10-ish or something like that. And I read a lot of comics and books and stuff, and it always seems like, and stuff and things on technology, and it always seemed like when there's cool technology or things happening, it was kind of in the United States. So my goal as a kid was to try to get to America, basically.
What were your favorite comics?
Well, I read every comic in the store. And I like obviously the Batman, Superman stuff. I mean the Green Lantern, Iron Man. Got to not say Iron Man first because then people will think, But I did think that was a pretty cool one. But I read everything like Doctor Strange. Just if there was a comic on the rack, I read it.
Awesome.
Yeah.
And when did you decide to get into computers and technology? Did you start coding, or was it just a lot of noise, a lot of construction going on?
Can you still hear? Okay.
Okay, we're good. So did you start coding?
Yeah. So when I was about 10 years old, I went into a store in South Africa and saw a Commodore VIC-20, and I guess maybe I was 9 years old. I don't know, somewhere at that time. And I thought this was like the most awesome thing I'd ever seen. And you could write computer programs and make games. And I played Atari and other things for other games, consoles, when I was like maybe 6 or 7. So the idea of being able to create games I thought was really exciting. And so that was my first computer, as a Commodore VIC-20. I think it had like 8K of memory.
And then what led you into entrepreneurship? Was it something that you always knew that you wanted to be an entrepreneur and start something on your own, or did you just stumble into it?
Yeah, I wouldn't say that I always knew that I wanted to be an entrepreneur. I actually wasn't sure what I wanted to do growing up. I think at one point I thought, well, inventing stuff or creating things would be a cool thing to do. But I wasn't really sure if that meant starting a company or whether that meant working for a company that made cool stuff. In fact, when I first came out to Silicon Valley, it was to do grad studies at Stanford in applied physics and material science. And then I saw, this was in '95, I kind of thought the internet would be something that would change the world in a major way. And I wanted to be part of it. And actually what I first tried to do was I tried to get a job at Netscape. So I wouldn't actually try to start a company. I tried to get a job at Netscape, and then
that didn't work out.
No, I didn't get any reply. So I had a physics and economics degree, or physics and business degree from Wharton, and I was doing grad studies in applied physics and material science, and I guess that I didn't have a computer science degree or several years working at a software company. So for whatever reason, I didn't get a reply from Netscape, and I actually tried hanging out in the lobby, but I was too shy to talk to anyone, so I was just like standing in the lobby, and then
you just walked in. Did you have your resume with you, or was it?
Yeah, actually, it was pretty embarrassing. I was just sort of standing there, trying to see if there's someone I could talk to, and then I just couldn't. I was too scared to talk to anyone, so then I left.
Amazing. So then you went on to do what from that point?
So then I was just writing software that summer, and it got to the start of the quarter for Stanford, and I had to make a decision. So I decided to go on deferment. So I figure if I start a company and it doesn't work, then I can always go back to grad school.
Sure.
It's just So I talked to the chairman of the department, and he let me go on deferment. And I said I'll probably be back in 6 months. And he said he's probably never going to hear from me again, and he was correct. I've never spoken to him since. So I started a company with my brother and a friend of mine, Greg Curry, and the three of us created Zip2, which where the initial idea was to create software that could help bring the media companies online. Mm-hmm. So we helped, in a small way, bring companies like the like New York Times, Hearst, Knight Ridder, and so forth bring them online. Because they weren't actually always online. People don't realize that.
Were you the CEO at the time, or did you give that role to someone else?
Yeah, I started off being the CEO. So I was CEO for probably the first year, and then. But after we got VC funding, the venture capitalists wanted to hire a professional CEO.
Was that frustrating, or were you like, this is over my head, I'm ready to give up this role to someone else?
At the time, I thought it was a good idea because I didn't really know what I was doing, and I figured they would hire someone who would be really good, and that person would increase the chances of success of the company, and so that seemed like a good thing. And then I could work on software and kind of product direction, and that's what I like doing. So that seemed like a great thing. Now, in retrospect, I think that wasn't the best thing, because the person that was hired, in my opinion, was actually not that great. So I think, I think quite frankly, the company succeeded in spite of that person, not because of him.
Starting a company for the first time is very challenging for a lot of people. They don't even know where to begin. You must have run into a lot of, we all made mistakes in starting our first company as far as hiring, like you said, the people you bring in, like the CEO that replaced you. Did you surround yourself with mentors? Who did you look to for advice?
I read a lot of books and talked to lots of people. I didn't have any one person who was a mentor, but I always looked for feedback from people around me, and feedback from an historical context, which is books basically. So that's
any book stand out as something that was like something that you really relied upon, or were they just general business books, or?
I didn't read actually very many general business books, but I liked biographies and autobiographies. I think those are pretty helpful. So I like, and actually a lot of them aren't really business, although like something like Franklin's, both his autobiography and say the biography that's recently been written by well, not that recently, but in, I guess 5 or 10 years ago, whenever it was written, the biography by Isaacson on Franklin is really good. You can sort of see how he because he was an entrepreneur. He sort of started from nothing, actually just like a runaway kid basically, and created his printing business, and just sort of how he went about doing that, and then over time he also did science and politics. So that, I would say certainly he's one of the people I most admire. Like Franklin's pretty awesome, but then I think it's also worth reading books on scientists and engineers. Tesla, obviously.
Did you hear about that Tesla museum that they're having built?
Yeah, I actually contributed some funding to save the land.
Oh, that's great.
Yeah.
Awesome.
Yeah.
That was a very cool thing that Oatmeal did.
Yeah, I thought it was pretty cool. I like the way that they put it too. It's like, let's have a goddamn Tesla museum.